Good afternoon, dear traders and friends. Welcome back to this wonderful training session on technical analysis, and this is a continuous online training and educational course on behalf of Goodwill, Comtrade and Wealth Management. I welcome you all, and my name is Pravind. I am heading Goodwill Customer Support and Promotion, and I have got a certain amount of experience in technical analysis, and I regularly used to post in YouTube videos during before the market opening, provide various inputs about crude oil, copper, natural gas and Nifty index option. So before going into the today's course, once you open your login panel, and on the left hand top you have three option for modifying the bandwidth. By default you can take low bandwidth, so there will not be much difference between low bandwidth, medium and high bandwidth. If you have very high speed internet connection, then you can try high and medium bandwidth. During the training session you can always post your queries, questions, whatever you think. There is an option available on the right hand bottom for chat option is available there. You can click on the moderator and you can continuously send your queries. So if you have any technical issues, you can very well contact Goodwill customer support 044 4032 9999. Our executives are always available to help you. You may face some issues like password expired or forget password. If you are not a Goodwill client, still want to join Goodwill or open a trading account, demat account, kindly provide missed call to 937 927. Even if you have account also, no issues. Customer support and promotions works common for the entire Goodwill clients. It is not only dedicated to particular department or support. So with this small intro, let us go into a topic. Today's topic is how to draw trend line, trend channel, and how to identify trend using trend lines and trend channels. Hope this is probably I didn't count it. It is a continuation course. We had taken this the same topic earlier in different language. So we are mixing up the languages based upon the customer's requirement and feedback. So we are not going to go into the very basics of technical analysis. Straight away we are going to jump into the topic, and we will try to understand how we can practically draw a trend line and form that as a trend channel. Purely a major part will be focusing more on day trading. So in the earlier session we used a bit of longer time frame, and few of the traders and investors, they had asked us to show some demonstration on lower time frame. So we'll be looking into that in details today. So okay, let's start the training session now. So the foundation of technical analysis. Let's go back to the foundation of technical analysis. The price and volume both are the two major components which drives the foundation of technical analysis. And we have, as a technician, as a technical analyst, we strongly believe in one thing: price follows trend. Without this belief, there is no use in trying to understand or to learn technical analysis. We strongly believe that price follows a trend, and trend basically we see this as a crowd behavior that we had seen in the earlier sessions. What forms the technical analysis? It's a trader's behavior. We call it as a crowd behavior that reflects as a pattern. So a trend exists and it reflects as a pattern, and the trend follows a path. These are the three major things we need to understand here. There is something called trend, and it is true. The trend follows a pattern. That is also true. And the pattern, within the pattern there is a path. So here we are introducing a word called path. Trend and path. The difference between trend and trend channel. This forms the basics of how a trend line is converted into a trend channel. Okay, I don't want to confuse you more. Let's go back and see some charts and try to understand how to draw. This is basically a candlestick chart. Everybody knows that. If you still you're looking for a very basics of technical analysis, don't worry about that. Repeatedly we are going to repeat the course again and again. So maybe this week or the next week you will get a chance to look into the basics of technical analysis and how to read charts. So this is a candlestick chart, whatever time frame it may be. So it's a candlestick chart. So if I want to draw a uptrend line, okay, if I want to draw a uptrend line, what I should do, I should connect all the lows. You see, for drawing a line, what I need 2 points. In order for me to draw a line, I need 2 points. If I have 2 points here, I can draw a line. In that way, in order to draw a uptrend line, you need to pick two lows. Trend lines are also called diagonal, support and resistance lines. You should remember, most of you may be familiar with this support and resistance line, and these trend lines are also called support and resistance line, but we call it as a diagonal, support and resistance line. We should give more importance for these trend lines, because this is the only valuable leading indicators we have. Coming back to technical analysis, most of us broadly speaks about indicators. So when we go and see or talk about indicator, always we miss this traditional more valuable indicators, because this demands you to do some homework, or in order to follow these traditional indicator, you need to understand that, and you need to draw that by yourself. So since it expects you to do something, most of you, I hope most of you are not giving much importance for this very valuable indicators, but we need to give great importance for this too. So for drawing an uptrend line, you need to connect lows, a rising low, and you can see the low is increasing and the high is increasing, which means the trend is up. So in order to draw a uptrend line, you need to connect this low and you need to project this line. So this line will move, it will go to infinity, so we need not bother about that, and it will track the trend. So this is how you will be drawing an uptrend line. The same thing holds good if you do it in the opposite way for drawing a downtrend line. For drawing a downtrend line, you need to connect two highs. So connect two high and project the line, then you will get a downtrend line. It looks very easy, isn't it? It looks as if it's such a simple thing to draw an uptrend or downtrend line. The difficult part is, once again I want to say that you cannot take it for granted this as a very minute line. It is a zone. You could see there will be some the candles will come, or a bar will come in and out of these lines. You can see some wicks coming out. You call it as a wick or shadow or leg, whatever may be. These are all a zone. You should consider this as a zone, not as a very thin straight line. So diagonal, support and resistance lines are called trend lines, and it is particularly a zone, not a single straight line. That is that's what you need to understand it. That's how you need to understand. And also you need to modify the trend lines according to the change in the price action. That we'll be looking later. So how you draw a uptrend line? by connecting the low you can draw uptrend line. By connecting the highs, falling highs, you can draw the downtrend line. So we had drawn multiple lines here, so you can easily understand. Even in this way also you can draw a trend line. So you can see we had drawn a trend line by connecting two highs which was dropping, but here you could see we had drawn a trend line by connecting the highs, the rising highs also. If you could do these type of things, obviously that will result in the formation of a trend channel. That's also we are going to see later. So basically this is just an intro for trend line. How to draw a trend line? You need to draw multiple trend line. Don't erase all this trend line. This will be useful. You may ask a single question whether I can draw a trend line for 5-minute chart or lower time frame chart. That's what we are going to see in much details. We are not going to see for a higher time frame. So this is a mix of trend and support line. And in this chart, if you could connect whether you could identify the trend, you can see very easily after connecting these two lows. If I project this line, and you may be amazed to see how the price whenever it moves up, it comes and tests the support. We call it as a support, diagonal support we have. You can see this had happened in Nifty index. The chart you are seeing is for Nifty index, maybe during the month of Jan, since the price is around 10,900, maybe around the mid of January. So this is how you need to draw a uptrend line. If you want to draw a downtrend line, the same thing holds good. You could see you can connect the highs and you can project the line. After connecting these two lines, if you project it, and you can see that after the price falling down, it's coming back and taking the resistance along the downtrend line. Why this is happening? As I told you earlier, many professional traders, they follow trend lines. Even though they look for certain indicators, the basics, these are the most fundamental and very reliable leading indicator. Why I call this as a leading indicator? You can see this trend can be projected. Okay, now before the price, now the price is trading here. I know this moves on, this trend line keeps on moving. Okay, I know that whenever the price hits it, I can go for a selling. So this is how this trend line leads the market, leads well before the market price. So that's the one reason we can clearly say that it's one of the leading indicator which we have, like support and resistance line. So this is the basic introduction for let me see whether we can have a few more examples. No, we don't have. We need to go right into the market. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move towards okay, before going on seeing some case studies, let's try to identify how to enter and exit the market using the trend lines. So the entry and exit should be based on certain things. Assume that I had drawn these trend lines a bit earlier. Okay, what I'll do, okay, so assume this is the price, it hits the support and it starts moving. Sometimes it comes down, so you can very well buy when the price is approaching near or at since I told you this line is a zone. Sometimes what happens, you see, when the price is moving, the price will come near to this trend line and it will keep on moving. We cannot ask whether we need to wait for the price to come and hit the trend line, or we need to right away enter. That's a very critical question nobody can answer. Okay, so even if the price is breaking a little bit, we cannot say that very clearly when you are using very short time frames. As I told you earlier, in this class we will be looking at shorter time frames rather than going for 60 minute, 1 hour, 2 hour, or weekly or daily, because if we go with a longer time frame, almost everything looks very clear. but as a trader we are very much focused on looking at the minute time frames. So the entry points can be based whenever the price, since I had told you that this is also a support line, how you trade using a support and resistance, in the same way you can trade using this line. There is another way of trading an uptrend line. Assume that the price is moving in this way and it had clearly broken the trend line, not just with a small wick, it had clearly broken the line, where you can re-enter using the trend lines. This is another one question people used to ask. So what? Wait for the price to give a retracement. Whenever the price touches the trend line again, you can very well re-enter at this point. You can go short at this point. You may be asking to what extent it is logical. To what extent it is logical when we apply the same concept for a support or resistance line. For example, see, this is a resistance line, this is a support line, assume. So if the price is moving like this, if the price had broken this line, support line, what we say, since the price is trading below the support, this should act as a resistance. That's what we always say, support and resistance interchanges itself. So based upon where the price is staying, if the price is staying here, this is resistance. If the price is staying here, this line is support. In the same way, what you can do, if the price had broken the trend, slowly steadily the price will move up. If you want to sell, you can sell when the price is testing the trend line. Since we had informed that trend lines are also diagonal support and resistance line, in whatever method you follow for trading support or resistance line, you can apply the same thing for this trend lines, which is also called diagonal support and resistance line. So this is one way of trading the trend line. One is when the price touches, consider it as support and you can buy. Or if the price is moving not much and it's providing a breakdown and again testing the resistance, and you can sell it. This is one way of doing, like how we normally do in a support or resistance line, horizontal support or resistance line. The same thing holds good when you draw a downtrend. So always the price comes up, comes down, and it will try to hit the trend line again. So you can sell here, and if you find any breakout here, again if you want to buy, wait for the price to come near the trend line, and this area you can choose this for buying. So this is another way of trading uptrend and downtrend lines. Hope and this is a very simple pattern. So there are something so what we said earlier, market follows a trend, and trend has a pattern, and the pattern and the trend both follows a certain path. So always if you see the chart as a whole, you can very easily identify there is some pattern exists in the don't go into the when I say pattern, don't think about head and shoulder pattern or triangle flag. I'm not talking about that pattern. A pattern in a form, like a platform, in a path. Market follows a path. The next thing after drawing a trend line, first you should master how to draw a trend line. After mastering how to draw a trend line, the next thing is you should try to identify the market path based on the trend line. So if you can track the path, which whether an uptrend line is following or a downtrend line is following, we call it as a channel. So this is how a market moves. It goes and hits we call this as a trend channel. Sometimes it trades here, it follows a panel. Always normally a trend channel will have a midline. Okay, so these are the basic available tools. These are the tools available in any trading platform. You need not ask this question where it is available. Drawing trend lines, always you have this option of drawing a line in any charting platform, and also you have the option of drawing a trend channel also. So there is no issues. We call this as a trend channel. So how to trade the trend channels? This is another question. Assuming that we had that experience to draw a trend channel on our own, the basic idea behind is everything you should do on your own. Don't depend on anybody. Do something on your own, and you will be amazed to see that you are far better than others. In reality, apart from the fear you have inside, if you learn how to draw this on your own, spend some time, do some homework. As we inform you, this is a DIY course, do it yourself. We are focusing more on this part, do it yourself part, rather than taking this as a traditional classroom session. So how to trade a trend channel? This is the another question. Okay, in order to trade a trend channel, you could see the price moves. You can, if the price is in the uptrend, before that you should identify the trend. What is the prevailing or underlying trend? Okay, if the price is in uptrend, you can always buy like what you do here. Okay, or if you want to buy at a breakout, the same thing is applicable. Because always the price changes its path. It's not going to travel in the same path ever. Why it is happening? If it is traveling in the same path, everybody would have made profit. After breaking out also, you can wait for the price to come down, and you can consider this as support. You can buy here. So when the market is very strong on buying, two areas you can buy. One is at the bottom channel, or at the top channel you can buy. Buying for at a top channel, you need to wait for the price to give a breakout, and then in the retracement you can select an area where you can buy. There is, as I told, always you can see a midline here. This is not a line. Probably I should have done it more clearly. So normally you have a center line, a mean line for these two trend channel. If you see any chart, that's what we are going to see in the case studies. If you see a chart, always you will identify the price, consider this midline, and will keep on moving when the trend is strong. Within the chart itself, it will form a channel. Again, it will come and take resistance in the midline. So this type of patterns happens based upon the circumstances, based upon various scenarios. You can modify your. In the same way, you can go short also. Wait for the price to drop down, and then in the retracement you can sell. Alternatively, you can modify you can keep the trend lines as your stop loss also. We had discussed about the entry point. We need to be very clear about the stop loss, because you know the trend line is tracking the price. You can keep the trend line as the bottom trend line, or the midline as a stop loss, or else you can draw the support and resistance line, and you can consider the support, that is horizontal support and resistance line, and you can place stop loss based on that. We are not going to cover the entire topic today itself. Hopefully we will not be having time for that. What we are going to do today, we are going to discuss about how to draw a trend line, trend channel on your own practically, taking some few examples, and then tomorrow we will have another session, how to use moving average for day trading. What is the scope? The first indicator. After a very long time, we will be discussing about moving average. Again, it is a repeated session. We took that in a different language. Now we are going to take that in English. On Wednesday, we will be mixing all together. How to draw trend line, how to draw moving average, how to mix moving average along with the trend lines for day trading. So that's the key. Everything looks easy when you see a long-term chart, but when we talk about day trading, drawing a trend line for day trading, bit complicated, bit difficult. Framing an average also. So we will try to find a solution for that. Again, it's all depend upon your homework, what you're doing. This is a downtrend channel. Always you will have a central line, which is the mean line for the trend channel. The same way, when the price is dropping down, the price should travel within the trend line. So if you want to sell, you can use the top line as the resistance line and you can sell. If the price will be consolidating here, say the price will move sideways, again it will give a breakout. So when the price gives a breakout, you can use this as an opportunity for buying. So whenever the price changes the track, it gives you a clear indication something is going to happen for the trend. So these are the various things you can understand, or various way to trade with the trend lines and trend channel. So can you identify the trend in this chart? So take time, try to do that. Can you identify there is a trend in this particular chart? This is again a Nifty index chart. Hopefully I'll be using crude oil chart. I know there are many commodity traders here. I'm going to mix both these index and equity and commodity chart. Try to identify the trend in this particular chart. I think it's a 15 minutes candlestick chart. I don't think it's a very... So what you need to do, fix two lines, that's all. After fixing two lines, try to draw a line. That's all. You will get a uptrend line. Okay, quite simple. And also, you see, it's following. If you draw a line properly, you will identify a channel within this line. If you draw a midline, you could clearly see the price coming down and again hitting this, traveling within this top band, again dropping down. That's all. It's moving to this, maintaining this midline, coming down, hitting the support, slowly moving, hitting the resistance, and you could see the price is losing its momentum here. You could see that it could not move above this. It had lost its momentum and trying to take support. That is clearly visible. The price is losing its momentum and it's trying to pick up. So it resulted in a failure. So the price dropped a lot. So clearly certain trends you can visibly understand if you learn how to draw a trend line, or after drawing a trend line, try to visualize and see some trend patterns. You can see here there is a downtrend line here. It is not always, don't limit your creativity. It is not always that all these lines, the price should not touch these lines. There is no rule like that. Okay, so you can see, you can connect this high and you can draw a downtrend. Here you can clearly see the price is creating a lower high. If you draw a downtrend line, once the price breaks here, the price is trying to pick some momentum. So you need to here also you can see that here is one high, here is one high, here is one high. I can draw a downtrend line. So once the price picks the trend, and here you can draw this, you can connect all these lines, or you can connect this and this line to see whether the trend is intact, or you can connect these two lines alone. You can visibly see once the price breaks this line, the market is dropping down. So always what you need to do while drawing a trend line, don't limit yourself, don't limit your creativity. Don't limit your creativity. Freely you need to draw the trend lines. Stay calm, look the chart as a whole. Don't focus, don't watch the market very closely. Look the price action as a whole, and you will be in a position to identify many patterns. Okay, you will be in a position to identify within this chart itself. I can tell you there are so many patterns and path transformation that happened within the trend. That's what you need to do. If you had drawn this trend line, it would have given you an indication the price is not moving. Even though we had a trend channel, to say that always you need to modify the trend lines according to the price volatility, price changes. So we call it as a modification of trend line. That's the key area. So I think let's see whether I have any more examples to show. I think it's time for us to jump right away into some case studies. So for this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take crude oil. Maybe since we had received some queries from our traders saying that we should equally talk both about equity and currency. Particularly, they have asked to show some examples on crude oil or commodities, other commodities. This is the chart of crude oil, what you are seeing. I had decreased the scale. I know it's quite difficult for all of you to see the candlestick. Purposely I had decreased the scale. I will explain you why I did that. This is 7-minute candlestick chart. You may ask why you are using 7 minutes rather than 5 minutes. I have explained this many times just to show some difference. That's all. There is no trick in that. You can use 5 minutes just to satisfy my creativity, to compromise myself. This is a 7-minute candlestick chart for this contract, which means the current contract. As you all know, crude oil trades on a monthly contract and expires around 18th or 19th of every month. So what you're seeing is the things or price action that had happened at the beginning of this contract. And also I had covered this topic when we discussed about chart trading. Hopefully we will be repeating that again in another class. Before trying to draw anything, try to analyze the trend, overall trend. So decrease the time scale to the maximum. Decrease the scale to the maximum, and you can see something. What is the trend here? Nothing had happened in the last the month of March. You could see the price is trading in the sideway range and nothing big had happened. So probably at the beginning of this contract we are trying to position ourselves at an area where the trend is going to pick up. So this is the understanding you need to have while you are seeing any chart. Okay, after having this understanding, if it is the other way, like the price had if the price is falling from 5,000 in crude oil, and now the price, it's a very steady drop here, now it's trading around 3,500. This is a different scenario. This is not the same scenario like what we are seeing now. The price had consolidated within a range for almost 2-3 weeks. So it's in the verge of showing something, some price action. I had chosen a 7-minute candlestick chart since we are focusing more on day trading. Okay. So after seeing the overall trend, what you need to do, our prime focus is, this is the area where the price had opened and the price is showing us 3,980 on what date? 15th of March. Assume that the price had opened and you're going to trade on that particular day. What are the things you need to do before starting a trade for day trading using trend lines? First we will be discussing about trend line, and then we will try to draw trend channel. So only if you understand how to draw a trend line, then only you can frame a trend channel. It's not a easy task for drawing in this big board. Try to adjust. We need to adjust something, and here you could see there is something called, I had drawn the recent uptrend line. What I'm going to do, I'm going to edit the width. I'm going to make this as default. Okay, I hope now things are a bit visible for you. So initially what I did, recent days, on 14th the price came near 3,920, and this is 7-minute candlestick chart, a very short time frame we are using. You may ask whether I can follow the same concept for 1-minute chart. Very well, you can do that, but you need some practice, that's all. So I had drawn a uptrend line. What are the other lines I can draw? Here is one peak, and I can draw one downtrend line. Approximately I am drawing, as I know this is a zone. It is not a single line, it's a zone. So I may miss certain minute details like ups and downs or wicks or shadows. I'm not going to bother about that. So I had drawn a downtrend line. What I'm interested in, I'm not interested in just drawing lines. I'm interested in drawing something, some lines above or below these price. That's my objective. Okay, because I'm going to start my trade. In order to start my trade, I need some reference point, like support or resistance point where I can enter, or I need to find the path of the trend. For this I need some I'm going to clear this annotation. This is the price opening. You could see that I'm interested in some lines coming here, or some lines coming here, or some lines moving above, which can act as a support or resistance, which can guide me to take a trading decision. I'm not interested in just drawing some lines. So that's my another objective. So you need to look the chart in a way how you can draw the other connecting lines. And so that's one of the reason I told you, don't be in a hurry whenever you take this subject, or whenever you try to focus on drawing a trend line or trend channel. You may be in a different mood. So you should be very patient for drawing this line. So what now you could see, I had drawn this line from somewhere, because the reason, if I am going to keep this in this way, now you will understand the price is likely to follow this trend. Okay, but unfortunately it just deviated from this trend and came down on 14th. What I am going to do, since I need a reference line in and out, and I know that trend exists, trend follows a path, and also history repeats. This is one dialogue I missed. History repeat. So if the price had followed this trend earlier, there are more reason for me to assume that if the price is going to move, this trend will exit. I am not going to bother about this area. This is another point you should notice. Don't read the books and say that okay, this is the limitations. There is no limitation for your creativity. So but this involves money. You need to do it yourself and see how it's going to work. Can you identify any other trend here? Try to do it. Of course you're not going to lose anything, just try to do that, or put a print screen and save it and try it yourself. So I have two lines here. The first objective is I have two lines here, but I need more lines on the top which should act as a resistance. What shall I do? So whether I can draw this line? Yes, of course. Just I'm trying to adjust this, minute adjustments, and I'm going to project this. Okay. Of course it's okay, because you see here the price followed a downtrend based on this trend line, and you could see this tracks a long-term trend. And it's quite important. If I decrease the scale, you will appreciate that it's quite an important trend line. And you could see this trend line, it tracks the long-term trend. Okay, here also it tracks the long-term trend. So it's quite an important line. You need to spend some time to understand the trend, whether we can draw any other trend. Here I have some point. What you should do, just pinpoint one low and try to project your lines. Here of course it looks like a more or less like a horizontal line. This also provides me some input about this trend. So within your trend line you could see a narrowing trend. This is another part. I cannot neglect this line also. It is also quite important. So always have in mind, whenever you see a price before trading, try to understand the overall trend, and after that now I am going to, after that, what? This is what after that. The price is here. I need some guidelines to take some position in and around. So what I did, I took all the reference of the path. It is not foolish to draw this much of line. It's highly logical. Whatever lines I had drawn or the path of the trend that had prevailed earlier, and as a technician we always have this in mind. Trend exists, history repeats. Trend follows a path, and within that path there exists a pattern. Okay, so now let's move the chart and see what we can do here. What happened here? I'm going to increase. Now I can very much increase the scale. Now you can see, if I am a buyer I'm not going to say here how to buy, how to sell. If I have two perspectives, one is a seller and other is a buyer. If I am a buyer, what I will do, I'll be targeting on this line, I'll be targeting on buying at this line, okay, or I will wait for the price to clear this line, because this line tracks the long-term trend. This line tracks the long-term trend. I will wait for the price to clear this line, to buy. So these are the various area where I can buy when the price comes if I am a buyer. On the other way, if I am a seller, what I will do, I'll wait and hit this area, right? Because that is the only area which shows some long-term trend is coming out. If the trend is going to be down, the price will not move above this, and it will find the resistance, and it will come down, try to break this bottom line, this area, this line, and show a downtrend. So things are very clear after drawing a trend line. So there is no magic in analyzing the market or predicting the market. Everybody can do this on your own. So the price showed some respect for the long-term trend and it came down. But you could see, we can say it had taken a support here in this line. Why? Why? Obviously, now I'm going to click this. Let's go and track this line. Okay. If you go and track this line, you can easily, as I told earlier, now I'm going to modify this to the top, exact top. You could see clearly the price is sitting on the line. That's the reason I told you these are all what we call as a zone. Never underestimate. Don't wait for the price to come exactly and hit the line. If I exactly pick the top, the price sits on the line exactly. So what had happened, the price had shown some respect for the resistance long term trend line. It came down, took some support here, and you could see the price once clears this area, it went a bit and it's again coming down. So it's finding some resistance and it's trying to take some support here. Slowly, steadily, you could see the price is taking support, and finally what happened, the price fell down and came, because now this is one area where you need to understand how the price follows a trend line. This area found a support and the price went up a bit. In the beginning of the session, what we discussed, or what I informed you, we are focusing on day trading. So a move to this extent itself is a good move for a day trader, but still if I want to re-enter, I consider this line. That's what I told you, how to pick a buy or sell. If I'm a buyer, I can go and buy at this point and place a stop below. So what happened after that, we need to see, slowly steadily the price climbed up. If I want to buy somewhere else, you could see this long-term trend, this line. After breaking out, the price that bit went up. So that's one potential area. I'm going to erase the annotations. And finally the price took support here and start shooting up. Now you could see it went up till 4,110. But you could see the price is finding resistance along this line. That pushed the price down. If I want to re-enter, you could see, as I told you, this is a zone. This is not a single line. That is the reason we had drawn a long term. I hope you know from where this line is coming. This particular line is coming from very much earlier. So now we could see the price is moving up, and here comes the second day 16th. Just by drawing few lines, you think you can very well say that we had created so many opportunities for trading as a day trader. We had identified the area of resistance much earlier by drawing that. We had identified the area of support. We had identified the area of support. We tracked this area, and we had identified this before the price action happened. That's quite important. Before something happens, we tracked every path and we tried to position ourselves according to the path. So this is one way you can practice on your own to draw lines, trend lines. what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete all this thing, and for the same chart, assume that the price had opened here. We are going to draw trend channel. Both are different. Both are same. There are minor changes or difference. We need to draw a trend channel. Can you identify any trend here? Can you draw a trend channel? Okay, let me start first. What I could see here, there is a downtrend. For drawing the trend channel, what I'm going to see, I'm going to keep this, I'm going to verify. So what I did, I tried to draw a trend channel, and after drawing this trend channel, I assume that the price is going to follow this trend. But the 15th price opening happened just outside this trend channel. That is another thing I should note. So this is one trend channel I can draw. Okay, whether I can draw any other trend channel here. Can we draw any other trend channel? You may ask how I draw this trend channel and why I need to draw this trend channel, this bottom trend channel, this area, because I told you earlier the price on 15th opened here. I need some channels here and there to support me or to guide me to see the underlying path. The objective of drawing the trend channel is to identify the path. What are the paths the market can move? So after drawing this, you could identify this line, this blue color line. Before that, it had provided a good support. Now the price, I had taken these lows and I had connected the single line, only a single point. This is one beauty while drawing trend channel. You should use your creativity, visualize as if the price is moving in that path. In order, assume that the price had opened here. Okay, if the trend is completely up, surely it will start moving following this trend line. If that is not going to happen, the price will travel within this path, and or particularly it can drop also. So the objective is trying to find the path. Whether I can draw any other trend channel, it will take time. Don't worry, it will take time for you to identify, because since I'm watching very close to the chart, normally we need to stand back a bit and try to draw trend channels. Okay, let's try to create a very sharp trend channel. Now I could okay, I'm going to increase the scale and let me most recently the price tried to move in this way. There is another chance that the price can move along with the trend. This is another way. Another way to draw a trend channel here. Kindly use your creativity and try to plot. Any idea? Okay, if I draw this, it comes exactly to this point, but there is no use in drawing this line. Okay, it is not guiding me near the price. My prime objective in drawing this line is to guide me in and around this zone so that I can take some decisions. Okay, now what I need to do, I need to draw the midline. I'm going to draw the midline on my own. So after drawing the midline, try to position itself very carefully in the center. I assume that this is the center, okay, or else we have the software will do its job. After drawing the midline, you will feel as if the entire chart is filled with all these lines. So now we could say that around all this price I have certain amount of lines which can act as a support or resistance. Coupled with all these trend lines, you should draw support and resistance line and overlay that with a moving average or add some other indicators. Things will be very easy for day trading. So that's the objective of this course. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to elaborate it and see how the price had reacted. So initially we assume that the price followed this trend. The price followed this trend. So we drawn this trend channel, but here the price broke the trend channel. Obviously what it should do, it should try to take some support in the long term this long term line. If the price is going to break this, then it's going to be a failure to withstand the trend. If the price is going to sustain this line, which means that it's going to deviate its path and it may follow. If the price is going to break, there is another trend here, it may follow this path. So it's all about tracking the path much earlier before the price picks or before the price starts moving. Finally, now let's go and see. Okay, it's taking some support here. We know the price is taking some support. Again, critically, it's continuously taking support. It's not willing to come down, but again you could see the price is trying to follow this is the path and this is the upper path. I can shade this as an upper path. Okay, the price trying to hit it, coupled with the long term blue line is also merging, giving an indication it can be a possible support, because if the price is going to break this, then it is going to be a continuation of downtrend. Yes, the price picked this path, you can see, and started moving. So that's the one thing you need to identify before doing trading, whether you can identify the path of the market. If you had identified the path, you could see again the price is coming down, taking support here and moving. Finally the price closed. So finally we got this line. Hope what I am going to do, I am going to delete this line and I am going to delete this midline. So this is the one trend. These are the two trend lines we draw. One is the overall trend, and the other is we try to use our creativity to identify the trend just by drawing a cross section within the price itself. It is not wrong to draw a trend line like this. With experience, you will get and you will try to understand. Once you see the price like here, once you see the price hitting the midline, once you see the price hitting the midline, and if it is bouncing back, then it gives you a confirmation saying this is a perfect trend channel. What is a perfect trend channel? A perfect trend channel is a channel where the midline will position itself very perfectly. I'll delete this line. Okay, I'm going to delete this line also. Here you could see the midline. This is the white line is the midline. So always, if you have drawn a trend line very clearly, the midline will have an intermediate trend, and it will clearly act as a resistance and as a support. If this had happened earlier, then there are more reasons to believe that the trend lines will be good, or the trend channels will be good. Okay, so this is how you need to draw a trend line. I hope I'm clear in this. Okay, what you need to do after completing a day, now one day is over. Okay, one day is over. The next day price open near this area. This is the next day. On 16 the price open here. You should erase all the trend line. Don't have any bit of trend lines after that. After a particular day, purely I am speaking about day trading. Don't have a trend line here. As usual, what you did earlier, try to draw trend lines and trend channels. Can we do that? Even if I try to do it bit fast, I cannot do it, because these are not the things we can do it just like that. This is one trend line you can draw. This is another trend line, downtrend line. Because the objective, as I told, I want some lines in and around this zone. I can connect this and I can draw another trend, because you could see there is one line. I can draw another downtrend line. I need to have some supports or resistance line, a diagonal support or resistance line in and around this price opening. That's my second objective. So what else? I can draw a trend line only if you master the art of now you could see I want to, because if the price is coming down, I need to have a support, and I know clearly that the price can try to move a bit in this trend earlier if I just neglect this small tiny portion. Any other inputs? Any other inputs to draw? Since we are running out of time, we assume that we will see how the price had reacted for it. So the price moved up and it broke this trend line which was created by connecting these two high, and it start moving up, and you could see a decent amount of resistance it's taking in this area. Again it's coming down and hitting this line. From where this line is coming? Yes, here we try to connect this line after we don't want to give importance for this area, so we neglected this part and we try to draw a trend line. So you should understand which part to neglect or which area you can focus. That is the key point here. That comes only with some experience. So you could see the price breaking the upper trend and shooting up, went up till 4070. Just by drawing few trend lines, we are in a position to very good position to draw or to identify the small twists and turns in day trading. So this is another part. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring this very close, and we will try to draw a trend channel for the same thing. So you could see very clearly I did pick this line, and you could see this is the trend channel. So what I assume, the price is staying here. If the price should move up, it should break this line and it should move up. That actually happened. That's what we saw earlier when we draw a trend line. Any other possibilities for drawing a trend channel? As I told you, we should this is another area where the price tried to stay in a trend. You will accept this. Okay, if the price is likely to move in uptrend, what should happen? The price will, from here it will break and it will stay within this channel. So this should be the channel for the uptrend. So we had identified the channel for uptrend, we had identified the channel for downtrend, and you can draw more channels also here. If we try to use our creativity, we can draw more trend channels here. Even I can tell you, this also forms a part of trend channel. You cannot say that this is not a trend channel, what I draw now. So always you should use your creativity, because it gives some valuable inputs. So that's how you need to understand. The price maintained this as a resistance and it's coming down. Now the price is moving up. So this particular zone should act as a trend channel if the price is going to consolidate. So this is a consolidation trend channel. So what you need to do, you keep on practicing. If you have or if you can draw this trend channel, just the second important thing is you should create confidence within yourself. And after drawing that trend channel, what you need to do, draw a trend midline. Our software has got the provision to draw it on your own, but this option may not be available for many starting providers. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to see how the price had reacted. You could see after breaking this area, the price consolidated for a while, and the things can be other way also. Here the price broke this area. There are chances the price, if there is a failure, what would have happened? That is how you need to think while learning. If the price had failed in this area, what are the chances? Surely it will come down and it will follow this path. So we had identified the path. The only thing is we need to position ourselves in the right area. So that's all. The price shooted up. Probably we should spend some time in drawing more trend channels. That would have easily guided us in this area. So even I can say that after price started moving up here, it's quite easy for me to pick this area for modifying these trends to identify the channel. So you can use your creativity. You could see after the price taking support, it went up. So there are a lot of ways you can draw trend lines. With this we are closing our session on trend channels and trend lines. I hope you would have enjoyed a lot. It all depends upon how you are doing your homework. There is no use in teaching, as we had made it very clear. This is all a do-it-yourself course where You need to have that confidence within yourself. That's the only thing you need. Take as many number of charts as you can. Favorite commodity, equity, index. Try to draw trend lines, form a trend channel, and you believe me, there is something called a path. Only thing is, we need to identify for day trading in what path the market can move just by using our creativity. With this, we are coming to the end of this training session. Thanks a lot for all your support. Thank you. Bye. Goodbye.